Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Goshie Talks. I'm Omar Goshie, and today I have come to Ladbroke Grove to speak to some of the residents about the police monitoring group. First of all, I spoke to an old friend of the show, Mr. Archibald Pottingham.
Police monitoring group? What utter nonsense. I mean, they do such a wonderful job in the community. I just don't see a necessity for such a thing.
What about police brutality?
Well, my friend, I see that as them just doing their job, you know. Criminals are not nice people. If they have to treat them that way, then so be it.
Don't you care about our young brothers and sisters who have been murdered in police custody?
Well, I stopped caring about things like that when I sold out in 1995 while dancing to the Macarena. So, that was good old Archibald Pottingham. Next, I spoke to one of the elder members of the community, Mr. Malachi Albert Excalibur Wilfred Ezekiel Lashford, also known as Maxwell. Police monitoring group? Yeah, man, that sounds real good for the youngsters, you know, because in my time, we never had anything like that, anything at all. The closest we had to something like that was groups of us would gather together in forests and walk the streets, making sure that the police can't beat we up, you know, because them used to do a lot of that back in the day, man, a lot of that. Another thing we used to do was monitor to see if we seeing a police officer on his own. And if we see he on his own, then we beat you up, man. Give you some good licks in your head, you know. Mash you up good, man. We even had set rules for this. There was a puncher, a kicker, a grabber, and me. I tended to be the papa. Don't get me wrong, we used to mix and match, so I used to get the chance to share some blows, but the way that we would use my pooping expertise is when the grabber gets he on the floor, the officer is on the floor, either the puncher or the kicker would share a blow to his ribs, you know, and as he let out a scream, I would jump on him and let one rip right in his mouth, you know, right in his mouth, man. Now, we had logic to this, you know, we used to think about these things. We had a good reason to do this, man. And the reason was, if you get a beating and you get some bruises and wounds, you know, in time, the wounds will heal and you forget about the beating. But I tell you something, you will never ever forget somebody farting in your mouth.
So that was Maxwell. Wonderful words there, a blast from the past. Next, I went to speak to an outsider to the community, but warrants the police monitoring group due to his experiences in life. I'm Dr. Abu Overture.
Police monitoring group, that sounds all very good, you know. I wish I had heard of that a long time ago, a few years ago, before I acquired the gift of my limp, you know, because the police monitoring group may have been able to help me.
How do you mean?
Well, Well, I was beaten up by the police, Okay, you know something? I'm not going to go into it because I like to look at things in a positive way. If it hadn't been for my beating, then I would never have been able to get disability allowance, which allowed me to go back and study psychology. And also, if I hadn't had my disability, I would not have been able to acquire the funding to get my mental retreat. My place where I help people with their mental illnesses.
Why did they beat you up?
Okay, I didn't want to go into it, but basically what happened was I made some police officers upset because I happened to run over one of their colleagues. Basically what happened was I was driving down the road and I saw one of these police officers in front of me. At that moment in time, I looked at him and a bird did a poo right on his head and it ran down his face, And this caused him to swerve and fall off his bike, which made me laugh. And then I laughed even harder because he happened to get run over by the bike. Yes, the bike ran over him. The bike that he fell off, it came back and hit him and rolled over his neck, which made me laugh so hard. And at the time of laughing, his legs must have been in the road, so I drove over the legs, Well, that is what I told the judge. I didn't say to them that I saw the same officer a couple of days before, about a week before, in Halsden, harassing two young brothers of mine. Not literal brothers, but African brothers, And that made me angry, and I did seek a certain amount of revenge on him. I didn't tell the judge, but foolishly, very foolishly, I happened to mention this to the officers in the police station, and that prompted them to give me a good beating, I don't regret anything I do because, as I said, I like to think positively, and that has caused me to do many things in the community and help people. As I say, I now have the mental retreat where I help my patients with their psychological problems.
So that was Dr. Overshaw. Nice words from the good doctor. Last but not least, I spoke to Mr. JC Kamau, one of the members of the police monitoring group.
Wagwan people, I'm JC Kamau, and a few years back it was found, due to the Macpherson report, that the Metropolitan Police were institutionally racist. You get me? Since then, to counteract that, checks and balances have been put into place, one of which are borough community monitoring groups. Now, we at Kensington and Chelsea Monitoring Group are here to ensure that the people feel safe and secure and well treated in their local boroughs. That they feel taken care of by by the Metropolitan Police and not intimidated by the police. Our main roles are to monitor, stop and search, stop and account, help people with complaints they have put forward about the Metropolitan Police, and just to make sure that people feel respected by the Metropolitan Police. If you'd like to contact us at the Kensington and Chelsea Monitoring Group, please do.
So, some informative words there from JC Kamau. So folks, that was a snippet of views about West London's Ladbroke Grove's Police Monitoring Group. If you need them, get in contact. That's what they're there for.